It's gonna be good, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be better, I can't wait. Making my move, live for the day, sing like a bird, fly like a plane. Come spin with me, Jenny D.
Hello, my beautiful people. It's me, Jenny D from Spill With Me, Jenny D podcast. I am just so excited for this next episode. I have decided to do June is for Jocks. I really wanted to highlight the players, the athletes, the coaches, the entrepreneurs, the people that are out there that are making a difference and really making an impact on our communities. So I'm so excited to have this beautiful young lady here, Cory. Cory, say hello to the listeners.
Hello, it's very nice to be here today. Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited you're here. So we actually, it's funny because when she walked in, I went, wait a minute, I know you. And I just, you still look exactly the same. I swear it was like 10 years ago.
Probably was.
Yes, because her family, they own Anytime Fitness here in Pittsburgh, PA. And I remember going there and talking to you. And I don't even know if I was there for marketing or if I was there to join. Do you remember?
I don't.
my memory's shot. But that was the first time we met.
Yeah.
So I was so interested in talking to you because I keep hearing, I talked to a friend of mine and they told me about your story and I never knew your story, just meeting you for the first time. And I would love for you to share your story and just to help the listeners or anyone out there that has gone through some struggles in life. And this is a story that, there are a lot of people in this world that persevere. Mm-hmm. They don't let anything get them down, and if they do, it's like, you got to have someone like you to be there to say you can do it. So tell us a little bit about growing up. And
Sure. From the very beginning, I actually was born in Orange County, California. So I lived out there with my family until I was like 8 or 9 years old. Okay. So that's where I started playing softball. It's like the capital of where everyone starts playing softball in Orange County, California. But so I lived there for a while. Started playing. I have a brother and a sister, and we went on a big trip one summer. We went on a motorhome trip, and we did like a circle around from California, through Colorado. Did the Grand Canyon.
My gosh!
And then up into Colorado, and then Yellowstone. It was a big circle.
That is on my bucket list.
It was awesome. I highly recommend it. And so when we did that, we came back and everyone was like, "How was your trip?" And my parents had bought a house while we were in Colorado because they thought it was amazing and beautiful, and they wanted to move. So then we pretty much sold the house, moved to Colorado pretty quickly.
Well, you don't know until if something's nice, like an area.
Yeah,
none of us go and you travel and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it.
Yes, it's beautiful. And so we moved there, and I think I was in 3rd grade or 4th grade, and we just started living our lives there. And I was playing softball, and all of a sudden I started having a hard time breathing, and we didn't know what was wrong. So we went to the doctor. They thought I had asthma. I was taking inhalers and different stuff like that, trying to see what's going on. And nothing seemed to be working. And I had a pretty good doctor who decided to say, let's take a CAT scan or something, because maybe you swallowed something. When I was little, they didn't know.
Nobody ever thinks about taking a CAT scan.
No, yeah. So that's what she ordered. She ordered a CAT scan, and it showed this little dot in the middle of my lung. And she's like, I'm not sure what that is. That's not good. And that's what was causing the whistling noise, because there was something blocking the main bronchial tube into my lung. So then I went down to Children's Hospital in Denver, Colorado, and they did a biopsy, and it turned out it was a very rare form of cancer called carcinoid cancer. It's a neuroendocrine cancer, so it's happens a lot in generally older patients that have usually it's in the gastrointestinal system, and usually it's in older people, and here I was like this young 11-year-old kid, and there's not very many of us.
So there's no cases out there.
I mean, there are, but there's very few. I think I looked it up once, and it's like very few. It's very, very rare. So.
And you know that. So wait a minute. So spell that for me. So that's
carcinoid. 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 Yeah.
Okay. And that, see, because I've never heard of that. And that is a nodule, or like what was on your lung?
So I had a tumor in the middle of my bronchial tube. And so like this whistling sound that we were hearing when I was breathing was the air trying to pass through like this little hole in my lung, because I didn't have, like, it was blocked. And so we were hearing that noise. And that was blocking my entire left lung. It was the main bronchial tube into my entire lung. So that's why I was having a hard time breathing.
Oh, so what did I was going to say? Like, you were young, so you didn't know what that meant. But
no,
I mean,
I was just struggling. Like, I was getting tired, winded fast. Like, you know, I just was like, what's going on?
And how did that whole go? Like, did you have to go through chemo?
So I was lucky I did not have to go through chemo, but that was because when they went in, I had full lung surgery, so like full surgery through my back, ribs spread, like the whole thing, and they removed a chunk of my lung. So it included my bronchial tube and an area all around.
Oh my gosh.
And when they sent it in, I was lucky it hadn't spread yet. So like we caught it early. If it hadn't been for that doctor who decided like, hey, this is weird, let's do a CAT scan. Right. And they just kept treating me for asthma for who knows how long, it 100% could have spread somewhere. But yeah, she was a good doctor who decided to investigate more. So yes, she was very good.
Right, because it's not hereditary, right?
Nope, it's just random, and I didn't smoke when I was 11 years old, so it wasn't.
You weren't around smoke.
Nope, it just happened.
See, people don't think about that, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and as a kid, you would never think like, oh, I need to go to see, you know, a doctor and do a CAT scan because I think I might have cancer.
Yeah, no,
you know?
It was completely random.
So how long was the process?
So the surgery was a big surgery, so I was in the hospital for a while after that. Before the surgery, there was like lots of bronchoscopy. So they at first had to go in through a bronchoscopy just to remove the tumor, like just a little bit, so I could breathe better. They were worried I was going to get pneumonia from having my lung blocked so much. Then when that came back like cancerous, then that's when like we have to go in, we have to remove the whole like section, and then send that in for biopsy to make sure they got clean margins and all of that, which they did. So that was very lucky. They put me through a bunch of scans, like octreotide scans and stuff, where they like you sit under this thing that moves very, very slowly, really close to your face for like an hour, half an hour. I don't know. It took forever. As a kid, it was really hard to stay still for that long.
Right, you're the patience.
Yeah. So a bunch of scans like that, making sure that it wasn't showing up anywhere else. And I had to continue with those for like a year or 2 years after to make sure it wasn't anywhere. And it wasn't, so I was lucky. And my treatment for that was considered, you know, done unless anything ever came back, which, knock on wood, nothing has.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I was in the hospital. I was at Children's Hospital. I was in the cancer area, and you know, with a lot of kids going through chemo. I mean, I saw it. It was, you know, a lot to take in when you're 11. So
you don't forget that. Like,
nope.
I mean, did you make any friends there?
No, I mean, no one really talks. I mean, there was someone who was in the room next to me that like we'd say hi and stuff, and like, you know, and I saw kids that, you know, were going in for all their scans like I was and things. But Children's Hospital makes it as nice as it can be. Like, there were areas to play video games, and they had a really big, huge saltwater fish tank, so you'd sit there and like watch that. And, like, it was just they try to make the kids as comfortable as possible.
So
which is nice.
You would say this was like a year or so. Like, how long did this?
The whole process, it was a little over a year because they, you know, the surgery and then the scans after. I mean, I would say it's closer to like a little over 2 years because I had to still go in for scans and stuff to make sure nothing was going anywhere. Did
they tell you like, okay, you can't do anything? There's certain activities you can't do, and
after the I had surgery in February, and then you know, I had to go through some rehab for my like movement, because they had to go through my back. So there was a large. It was a big surgery, and my dad helped me with a lot of that. My mom didn't want me to start playing right away because she, you know, didn't want me to get hurt. But my dad was like, you have to throw her back into everything because she can't be scared. She can't. So he worked with me, and so February was the surgery, and end of April was like when my first tournaments were, and I was pitching again.
What?
So my dad was like, we're gonna get this healed and you're gonna practice and you're gonna go play.
I mean, it's years ago, but how did you feel as far as like how different your breathing was after you were like that blockage?
Yeah, it definitely helped with the breathing, but they also, since they cut out a piece of the bronchial tube, like my lung kind of is like a funnel, so it like, I still was winded, and we're in Colorado, the high altitude, so it still made it difficult because of that piece being gone.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it in Colorado. Yes.
Yep. Yeah.
Now, so when you started pitching and everything, so you're still like 11.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I started pitching when I was like 8, so I've been doing it already for 3 years or so, and so I just had to get myself back into it
and get yourself so busy. So you did fast pitch. Mm-hmm. And did you do it all the way through? Did you do high school in Colorado too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. I went to Rocky Mountain High School. That's where I graduated from, and I got out here because the University of Pittsburgh offered me a scholarship to pitch for them.
Oh
so
my
I moved
gosh.
out here after my senior year, into my freshman year.
Amazing. That is amazing. So you were probably breaking records in high school, like for them to see, for colleges to recruit D1,
Yeah, I played on a really good travel team. That's a lot of where you get recruited for college softball.
Yeah.
So we traveled all over the country. And so Pitt saw me when I was in a national tournament in like Kentucky.
Okay.
And so that's where they saw me play a whole bunch. And then, my senior year at Rocky, we won the state championship, which was really cool.
Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I know like the playoffs for that here are happening now. So it's like, I know what those kids are feeling. It's a lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah,
so were your parents like, I don't want you going to Pitt, like it's so far.
I think my mom was doing that a little bit more than anybody. Yeah. But my I was very interested in the East Coast because my dad grew up outside of Philly. So like I have aunts and uncles and cousins who live out here, and we had been out before to visit and stuff like that. So I felt like I could go like far away from home, but at the same time be close to family. So it wasn't like completely by myself. And I was
gonna say, how did you like Pitt?
I really liked it. It's very different. Fort Collins is like a small little area. It's an hour away from Denver, Colorado. So Pittsburgh is like right in the city, and it's definitely different. And I think I like that because it was just such a different environment that I hadn't been in before.
What was it like being on the team?
It was super fun. It's a lot of work. It's you're eat, breathing, sleeping, softball, and then school. So you don't have a lot of like downtime. Yeah. It's like get up, go to lifting, and then go to practice, then go to class, and then study, and then go to bed. Yep. Mm-hmm. It ends up being like more than a full-time job. I mean, during the fall winter's like easier because it's just like practice and classes and lifting. But come spring, I mean, we often would leave on sometimes on a Wednesday, but normally on a Thursday. Yeah. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, come back late Sunday, go to school Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Gone the whole time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and then you're missing classes and trying to make up stuff, and so it's a lot.
Yeah, but when you look back now that you're older, it's like you wouldn't change it, right?
No, it was one of my best experiences. It was a tough experience, so it teaches you a lot about time management.
Oh yeah, leadership, all that stuff. Now, okay, so fast pitch, right? Mm-hmm. So how fast were you pitching?
So when I was throwing, the fastest I threw was 64. Mm-hmm. I probably was more like 62 to 63 in games. But this was also back in the day when you had to keep both feet on the mound. Now girls are allowed to take their back foot off the mound, which is very helpful in pitching.
This is something I never knew.
Yes. So you've got girls now. I mean, you've got girls like hitting 70. No, I'm not saying easily hitting 70 because those are the cream of the crop, your best players out there. But there are girls throwing, between 70 and 75 at D1, College World Series, which is really cool.
Oh my God. I think about like the roundup of like, your arm and like how you pitch. Like there's just no way I could do it. I mean, how is your arm?
My arm's fine.
Are you right-handed?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
yep.
So you always pitch, because sometimes people pitch, or they'll hit with their left.
Yeah, some people like switch hitters. Yeah. And I think it depends on just how dominant you are with one hand or the other. But I'm totally right-handed.
Did you play any other sports, or did you do any other position in softball?
Yeah, I mean, I played first a little bit, but I was pretty much just a pitcher. Like I spent all my time with my pitching coach and practicing my pitching, and that's where my focus was. I did play basketball growing up because I'm tall, and I liked it. But I'm 5'10".
Nice.
But when I was like a freshman in high school, I stopped playing basketball and I just stuck with softball.
Yeah, it's a lot. You're gonna do one or the other, right?
Yeah, especially if you want to play at a really high level. It's really hard to balance doing multiple sports and all the travel and all the time. So.
Right, and it's so. Tell us now. So when you got out of Pitt, what was your major?
It's a kind of a long story.
We got time.
I actually was very interested in getting into the medical field because of kind of my childhood experience, and Pitt has this really awesome neuroscience
really
department.
good, medical.
Mm-hmm. So I got really interested in their neuroscience department. They were talking about how it was neat to learn like the science side and then to also take like psychology courses and kind of learn that kind of mental side. So I was taking neuroscience classes and psychology classes and I was really liking it. But then I started thinking more about like my future, and then I was like, do I want to work in the medical field with people and dealing with health? And like, so then I started like second guessing if I wanted to do that. I decided I wanted to go into veterinary medicine instead because I love animals and I wanted to work with animals.
I do too.
So I kind of went down that path. So I had to like ditch the neuroscience and start taking other more like classes more focused on animal type stuff.
Right.
And then I was also taking a ton of chemistry courses. So like I ended up having a bachelor's in psychology because I had been taking those classes all along and they were adding up quickly.
Right.
I have a minor in chemistry. And I was like very close to a minor in biology as well because I was taking so many bio classes.
Girl, you're smart. You are smart.
And then, that's what I ended up with. And then I went to get my master's at Ohio State in veterinary public health.
Oh my god.
And then I was going to go to vet school. And then,
look at you, girl.
And then I needed a break. So I didn't go to vet school right away. I came home and I started helping my parents at the gym. And so then once you're like working and you're not in school anymore, I was like, and you're like making money and you have more friends. And I was like, do I want to go to school? So I kind of didn't know what I wanted to do. So I worked there for a while, but I had also started giving lessons at Seaside. So I was doing that on the side, and then it grew. And then I started doing lessons full time about like, I think it's like 2.5 years ago now. So now I was full time just pitching lessons.
And these, it's just softball, girls, fast pitch. Oh my gosh. And what does that, how do you feel when you do that? What kind of joy does it bring you?
I mean, I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's I kind of feel like it's also like giving back because like I had a pitching coach who taught me everything I knew about pitching, and if it hadn't been for her, then I don't know how far pitching would have gone, because like, you know, she taught me pitches and form and mental stuff to help me in the game and stuff. So it's nice to kind of do that and help kids, you know, achieve those things on their own too. So like I'm helping them. And I've gotten a lot of really good relationships with a lot of the kids. A lot of them feel like they're my little like adopted children, little sisters. Yeah. They're
You're
like
too young to have kids. Is it mostly high school kids?
No, I have kids from 8 years old to my college students who come back over the summers. So I've got some girls. I mean, believe it or not, my first lesson that I gave out in Ohio when I was in grad school is she's married and has 3 or 4 kids. So
oh my god.
Yeah, so I've been giving lessons for a while, and it's neat to see them grow up. It's really cool to see them earn college scholarships, play in college, and
what
you know,
satisfaction that is.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I just, you know, yesterday I got to go. One of my girls was playing at Peterswood Park for their playoff game, and they won. So now they're in the semifinals for the Whippy-Ols, and it was neat just watching her do that. And they secured a bid to playoffs for the state championship too, no matter what, even if they were to lose, you know, tomorrow. But so it's just fun to see them, you know, do well and perform well and get excited.
Right. And
I remember that.
Right. And that the feeling of that doesn't ever go away. No. You know, going back to like when my son plays baseball, he plays for AU in the summertime. My older son played too. And there would be like softball team on the other side. And I remember they would be chanting and like kind of like taunting each other. Yeah. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know. I mean, how do you tell your the players that you are teaching, how do you tell them like this and get rid of that background noise?
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it was easy to kind of just shut that stuff off because I just wanted to stay focused on like the things that I could control, and I can't control you know, what the other team is saying, an umpire strike zone, the weather, like there's things you can't control.
Right.
And then there are things you can, like myself. So I try to teach the girls that, like, just control what you can control, like, ignore all the white noise and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, everyone makes mistakes, so you'll make those mistakes, but the other team will make mistakes too. And, you know, just try to keep all of that out of your head, because whenever you get that in your head, no one plays well. So I'm like, so if you let it get in your head, like, you almost guarantee that you're not going to pitch very well. Right. So don't do that.
Yeah, you gotta, like, you have to, like, focus. And I can't even imagine, you know, being on the mound, you know, there's all these people around, you know, and like you said, you have the umpires there and everything, and you're like, okay, you know that pitch is a strike, and they call it a ball, and you're just like, what? And you know, you can't say anything. You got to keep your cool, and you just gotta, it's one pitch at a time.
Yeah,
right?
and it is a lot of mental, I think, especially as a pitcher. Like, you're thinking a lot about what you should be throwing and what the batter did before and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so.
it's a mind game.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've noticed that with baseball with my son. You know, when you're up to the plate and you're ready to swing, it's like you have to mentally know, like, okay, the curveball's coming or whatever. Do you want to swing at that? Is it the first pitch? It's like, I give you guys so much credit, because I really feel like, you know, it's a team sport, but you're out there by yourself in your positions.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's what I liked about softball in particular was, yes, it's a team sport, but then you are very much each kind of doing your own thing in your own space, right?
Right.
And you are accountable to your whole team, and you know, you have to make your plays and do your job to help the team. So that's something I do really like about the sport.
Right. And you win as a team, and you lose as a team.
Yep.
And that to me makes, like, the camaraderie. Like, I see the closeness.
Yeah.
You know, when the cheering for each other, like, and the teammates are just so close, and I love that.
Yeah.
You know, when you're playing other sports, you're all close, but for some reason I've been around baseball so much that I just see, like, that there's so many people that are just, you know, the kids, they stay friends, especially AAU. They stay friends with these kids from all different schools. I love that aspect of sports now. Yeah.
My best friend to this day is someone I started playing softball with when I was like 8 years old. Wow. And so she happened to go to my same school for high school, so we played high school ball together, and we played travel ball together, and we're still friends to this day. So, I mean, you create a lot of really close bonds in sports.
The memories. The memories are so much fun, I'm sure. Now, if you would give advice to if there was like one of your students, would you call them students when you were like okay. If you could get advice to them, what would you say to them as far as just being a part of being a student athlete?
Balance. I mean, you have to find balance, like that. You know, especially if they're wanting to play in college, the student part has to come first, and that's something they really preach to us at Pitt too. Is like, you're called a student first and a student athlete. Sure. So like, you need to keep your grades up. You need to study. Like, you never know if you might have an injury that could end up ending softball or something for you. Right. So you can't rely on the sport. You have to rely on, you know, your brain, and go, you know, study and you know, push forward in what career you might want, and then also have fun and play softball and work hard. You have to challenge yourself, and you know, it's only you who can, like, make these things happen. You know, I work with a lot of kids and a lot of parents, and I definitely see there are some students who I think their parents want things more than the student does, and if you don't want it, it's not going to happen. So I always try to, like, encourage, like, really honest conversations with your kids. And
Cory. It's so true, because you know, you're there and you're seeing something different. Like, okay, parents are like, all right, we're going to pay for these lessons, and these kids are going to do it. When you're in those lessons and you see their face, or they're not having fun, or they're frustrated, because it's a mental game, and it really gets to you.
It does. And, you know, pressure comes from all different places. It can come from your teammates. Like, I have some kids who tell me that they're afraid to let their teammates down. They don't want to disappoint them. Right. It can come from coaches. It can most certainly also come from parents. Right. And so kids end up putting a lot of pressure on themselves. And so if I always tell them, I'm like, softball is what? And they're like, it's a sport. And I said, and what are sports? And they're like, sometimes they don't know the answer. I'm like, it's a game, right? Isn't a sport a game? Like, it's a game. Why do we play games? And they're like, well, to have fun. I'm like, exactly. So, like, if at any point like, I'm not saying there are going to be moments that aren't fun or moments that are going to be hard, but at the end of the day, you should be having fun in some way, because that's why you're playing it. And if you're not, and you're not enjoying it, you're miserable, that's a red flag, right? So
I was going to say, have you ever had like a student athlete that you were training and you just knew in your heart that this might not be for them, or their heart's not in it?
Yes, I've seen it quite a few times. And usually I never want to like
Discourage.
I don't want to discourage or tell someone they shouldn't do something, so I don't. But I do talk to the parents about making sure that it's what their kid wants to do, and that like probably from anywhere from like 8 to 12, you kind of do have to make your kid go practice. You have to push them. They're little, they're kids.
Yeah, they're still immature.
But once they're like 13, 14 years old, if they are never wanting to go practice on their own, if you're always having to make them go and they seem like, oh, I don't want to do that, like
that's true.
That's probably a sign that this might not be something that they really want to do. And so, have an honest discussion, or maybe they want to do it, but they don't want to do it at the competitive level that you're pushing for. I mean, I have girls who are playing really high level softball, traveling the country, and then I have some girls who are only playing rec, and really they just want to be good at playing rec, and that's really all they want, right? And that's fine. For me, that wasn't enough, but for other people, that might be what they want, and they might also be really good at other things too. So like, I have some students who they're like decent at pitching, but like I have one student who's really good at singing, beautiful at singing, and I was like, wow, you have such a talent, like something I could never do. And so like often you find that the kids have other talents too, so sometimes they might be really, really invested in something else and they love it and they could talk about it all the time, and then like maybe softball is something that like it's fun, but like they don't want that at the level that maybe the parent does, or the coach.
At the end of the day, Cory, I mean, it all comes down to, and this, about you and about what makes you happy, because we think about the stressors in life and stuff, and we want to make sure, like I always, say to them, I have 3 kids, and, my daughter, I was really into musical theater when I was growing up, but I took her to some of the shows I was in, and I wanted her to see, and I took her, she did sports, she did softball, but I hope she's not listening. She hit it, rolled it to the fence, and she's like, it's a home run, she's screaming, it's a home run. Everybody's like, she got a home run, because she made it to home, because the girls didn't get it back. But you just gotta kind of put your kids in different things, different activities, and see what they really love. And if they love what you love, it's great as a parent, because you're like, oh my gosh, I love this. But you do know by by high school age, I would say that most likely you can see it in their eyes. Like you said, if they're not going out and practicing, this is not what they want to do. But then there's kids that are like multi-sports. They're doing 3 sports. They're singing. They're doing this. I'm like, wow, and they can multitask. So it's all each your own. You just got to figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I love what you said about that you got to love it, and you just can't make somebody do something they don't want to do.
No, especially if it's something that's like takes up so much time and so much effort. Like they have to love it.
Right, and all the things that think about the attributes you get for being a student athlete. Leadership. Give me some more, Cory.
Time management, I think, was the biggest thing it gave me, for sure. Discipline. I guess like working with a team, working with others, because that
team player.
That can be challenging at times as well. And I think also probably just like physical, at least with sports, like physical discipline too. Like you need to fuel yourself as an athlete. You need to be eating well, eating good food. You need to be sleeping, right? So like, like a lot of people aren't sleeping enough and they're tired, and so making sure they have rest, and then like kind of I guess like in a way like the way that they rehab themselves, like working out injuries and stretching and making sure they're not pushing themselves too far. So I think like that's something you learn about your body too, like how much can I push, how much rest do I need, how much food do I need, all that kind of stuff. So you learn a lot about yourself, like as just a kind of like a machine, like what do I need to put in so I can get out what I want from it. So
and everybody's different. And I mean,
completely.
Your story just amazes me, and what you're doing now, because you loved fast pitch softball. And, you went from like having something in your childhood happen to you, but you did not let that stop you. And look at you now. You're making sure every young lady is out there, and if they want to pursue, softball, you're there to coach them, to be there for them, be their mentor, be their best friend, and going to their games and see. I mean, they're probably so excited when they see that you're there.
It's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun.
So
and very rewarding.
You're living your best life.
Trying to.
You gonna stay in Pittsburgh with us?
Yeah, for at least for now. My husband is from Texas, so he does miss it down there, but we go visit his parents a lot down there, and we like to travel, so we do a lot of traveling, and
and tell us about your pets.
Yes, we have we have a lot of pets, too many pets. But so we currently have 4 cats, 4 dogs, and a bunny.
Oh my gosh! Wait a minute. I didn't even realize that. 4 cats,
4 dogs, and a bunny.
And one bunny.
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Look at you.
I really should live on a farm instead of a neighborhood, but
I love it.
But yes, that I spend a lot of time with them, and that brings me a lot of joy. But
you're such a loving, caring person. I can just see it in your eyes that you just really care about people, and you care about your animals, and and I love that about you. I love what you're doing, because I feel like you're giving back so much.
Yes, it's
your community, to anybody out there that's looking for it. She's got such a beautiful smile. So if you watch this on YouTube, you'll see this beautiful Cory with a beautiful smile.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to tell the listeners?
So we didn't really touch on it, but the one thing I would say is, after I kind of went through all of this and I got older and I wasn't playing softball anymore and I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with myself, like outside of like coaching and work and that kind of thing, is to find something that you're really passionate about and that you really like to do. And so me and my husband really got into hiking, and we were doing like a lot of like cancer fundraising type stuff.
Tell me about that.
And so I started with a smaller organization that just did like local hikes here and would raise money. And then I started like looking for more stuff, and I met someone at the gym who went and did a really big hike and went to Mount Kilimanjaro and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro.
Gosh, right, I forgot to ask you about this.
That's okay. Yes. And so like she inspired me to want to do that, and then I ended up reaching out to a guy who's also a cancer survivor who lives out in Colorado, and he runs the Cancer Climber Foundation Association, something like that. And his name is Sean Swarner.
Do you know I had him on my podcast?
You did? You had
and
Sean
I
Swarner?
went to Westminster with him.
I didn't know that. Yes, so I know Sean Swarner.
Oh my God, I had to do 2 podcast episodes.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Because he is amazing.
Yep.
What he's been through. Oh my gosh.
Well, and did he tell you about his foundation? Because I don't know when he started it, but
because this was like 2 years ago. I think he was on my podcast.
Okay, so he might have. So because 2 years ago was when did I climb Kilimanjaro? 2021. So it was 3 years ago. So he has a foundation called the Cancer Climber Association.
Yes.
And what he does is he like raises money to then send other cancer survivors to go climb mountains. Yes. And so like I found his website essentially, and I emailed him, and we were supposed to go in 2020, but then of course like COVID had to happen. But so then we went in 2021, and I was one of his like recipients to go climb Mount Kilimanjaro with him, and then like I continued to raise money, which gave money to someone else that he could go take like the next year.
Oh my
so we climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in 2021, which was like amazing and hard and awesome and everything all together.
He told me about some of his experiences that you camp out.
Yeah, I mean, it was Kilimanjaro, I think was like 6 days of hiking and 5 nights of camping, like Kilimanjaro is 19,400
oh my
something.
God, you have to send me pictures.
Oh, I have tons.
You have to show them.
Because
I actually watched some of his videos. I can't believe we didn't talk about this.
I didn't realize.
No,
I'll have to talk to Sean too.
I know, Sean's great.
Yes, he's great.
And I mean I love that he has this foundation because he also, he went his childhood with the healing of one lung.
Yep.
And he went up. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
So how many mountains have you climbed?
I have climbed Mount Kilimanjaro with Sean, and then 2 years ago in 2022, we went to Nepal and we climbed to Mount Everest base camp with Sean. So not Everest, like the bottom of Everest, but we saw Everest.
Yeah, he did Everest.
He did Everest, yes.
That was that was a lot.
Yes.
I
He
give
was
so
telling
much
us so
credit
many
to him.
stories.
Yes, I give so much
Because just
credit.
going to base camp is a lot. Like I was tired and
like it could be snowing or it could be, you know, the weather.
yes,
climate
we lucked out
changes.
with pretty decent weather. I've heard all sorts of different
And
stories.
he went up there and he put the flag on. Oh,
Yeah,
that was
no,
just
he's
like
amazing.
From the cancer
Yep.
survivors. Oh.
Yep, so we did that, and then he just texted us like 2 weeks, or maybe it was this week, maybe it was last week,
Yeah.
a text, and all it said was Machu Picchu 2025, and me and my husband were like, yes. So
your husband goes on these hikes?
Yep, he went with me. He did the same stuff as me as well.
Oh my god.
And so I believe then next year, Sean and I have been talking along with my husband and his wife, Julissa.
Yes.
And we're hoping to plan on going to Machu Picchu and doing the Inca Trail to Machu Picchu next year. So hopefully that happens.
I don't know
'cause I really
anything
want to do
about that trail, but
Yes,
it
that's
sounds
in Peru.
fascinating. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
I love what you're doing. So it's like, you know, we're talking in the beginning, okay, and you know, she's teaching softball, fast pitch, and stuff like that. Oh no, Cory she is reaching heights. I mean, she is climbing mountains. I love that.
Yes, I want people to be encouraged to like just keep. I didn't know if I would like doing this until I tried it, and then I'm like, this is awesome and it's so much fun. And same with my husband. So like now we we like to go.
You're advocates for cancer survivors to say, just do it.
Just keep going, and even for other some of my students they're just like, I want to go travel the world like Cory, and I think that's just really cool because it's broadening their ideas on what they can do in life and stuff too, and the place. Like when I was 11 and I was doing all this stuff with my cancer, I did not think I would be like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro like when I'm in my 30s. Like, it didn't even cross my mind. But
you don't think that's ever going to happen.
No.
And then look at you now.
Yeah.
So I
really
cannot
cool.
wait. I need an update. So whenever when is this? It's 2025.
We're hoping to go next year.
Next year, like during the spring.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if it's spring. We have to figure out the best time of weather. It sounds like fall might be the best time of weather when it's good weather and not tons of people. Because you don't want to go when like all the tourists are there. It's too busy.
Yes. That's
So,
true.
so yes, we're hoping to do that.
I can't believe it. I'm so excited for you.
Yeah, we're really excited.
This has been such a highlight for me because just knowing what you've gone through and what you're doing and how you're helping other cancer survivors to know that guess what, I'm doing this. Sean Swarner is doing this with one.
I mean, Sean inspired me. I mean, because when I started watching his stories and stuff, I was like, oh my gosh, look at this guy doing this. Like, and I'm just sitting here. What am I doing? So then, and I was missing something because I spent my whole life like doing so much softball, and then it's like done, and so I needed something else that like would push my like competitive side, and so this got into that, and then we have to train for it and everything. Yeah, I mean, we were at the gym doing the Stairmaster with packs on, getting ready for Kilimanjaro and stuff. So it pushes you.
I'm so excited for you. This is so wonderful. Thank you so much for being on
Thank
my
you
podcast.
for having me.
And I can't wait to hear more about you. And we're going to show pictures of like, oh my gosh.
I have so many.
I know. I can't wait to see them. That's so exciting. Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
You're welcome.
You're so sweet. This was Spill with me, Jenny D. Take care.